This month on The Card Life, presented by Pristine Auction.
One day I came home and asked my mom why there weren't pictures of girls on the cards, and I said, it's not fair.
We grew to 59 players all total. I thought maybe we could do something bigger.
We wanted to make it a social environment, have that bar atmosphere, but as a card shop.
And then his helmet he wore is actually in my office right here. Well, that's the one.
That is sick. Welcome to another episode of The Card Life. I'm your host, Matt Strom. I'm still down here in Arizona training for my first season with the Phillies, but this month's episode is all about the state of Indiana. We have some incredible stories about sports cards related to the Hoosier State on this episode, including the revival of the first set of sports card that featured all women, a release that caused a national stir in 1979. We'll tell you how a chance encounter with a Negro Leagues player from the Indianapolis Clowns turned into 2 road trips around the country and inspired a unique set of cards featuring some of the greatest baseball players of their era. CSG will give us an overview of how they grade cards, and we'll stop by Pristine Auction to look at some cards from the world of auto racing. Let's start things off with the incredible story of the Supersisters trading card set, whose founders live in Indianapolis and are in the process of bringing back a revolutionary brand.
I'm Melissa Rich, and I'm here with my mother, Lois Rich.
And I was basically the founder of Supersisters with my sister, Barbara Eggerman, many years ago.
I was an 8-year-old girl. I played baseball, and as a result, I traded baseball cards. And one day I came home and asked my mom why there weren't pictures of girls on the cards, and I said, it's not fair. And my mom and my aunt wasted no time creating a set of cards featuring women of achievement so that I too could see my heroes on baseball cards.
At that time, there was no such thing as the internet, no way of getting in touch with many of these people that we wanted to write to ask for permission to create this set of cards. My sister and I would run around to every library, and we contacted 500 women of achievement in all fields, not only sports, but in everything that we could think of.
500 women that they had researched with the criteria of living American, first in their fields, or significant prize winners. Whoever showed up on that list was who they wrote to, and it just so happens that the first 72, they self-selected themselves. They were the ones that said yes, and they were the first 72 that said yes. I do remember, you know, those permission letters coming in from people that I saw on TV. Rosa Parks. And she included on the back of her card a quote from Martin Luther King: her courage and dedication will be an inspiration to generations yet unborn. And that was the quote she decided to put on the back of her card.
The cards, as we had printed, are in numerical order of when we received their permission. And so the first one was Susie Chaffee. Margaret Mead responded. Oh, the first woman rabbi, the first woman who worked for a major airline.
An incredibly diverse community of women that responded. Because these were permission cards, what we got is not just, here are my statistics, but it's, here is what I want girls to know about what I accomplished. It wasn't somebody else saying, here's what you've done. It was their version of their own history.
We just did this as a lark, and all of a sudden it really took off. Publicity was extensive, it really was. And when one gave some television coverage or radio coverage, others followed.
So I'm ready, even eager to buy Supersisters cards for the male chauvinist piglets around the wheelhouse. So this one says, want to trade a Gloria Steinem for a Margaret Chase Smith. And it was my brother and my 2 cousins. We became the child labor, if you will. So when it came to creating the sets of cards, we were the ones that had to sit around our ping pong table and collate the cards and all that kind of stuff.
We had to collate these cards into a pack by going around a ping pong table and manually collating them into packs. Went down to the local Irvington, New York post office to be mailed by hand.
It was a mail order business, and again, really hard to get attention for a mail order business. You know, there wasn't Facebook or Google or anything like that that you could advertise on. It really was all the press that we got that would include the mailing address to order cards. Dads writing in saying, my daughter needs a set of these cards. The final pricing was about $7 for a full set of cards. It's quoted that about 15,000 sets were ordered.
It was really a lot of fun.
We had a room in our house that was called the Supersisters room. That's where, you know, all the work was done. I think it was really genius that they came up with this idea of doing baseball cards because it was fun and accessible. It was a way for us to see women doing interesting things in a way that made it fun, you know, not just reading about them in a textbook, which, you know, at the time, women were really not prominent in any kind of media, marketing, textbooks, or toys.
Helen Thomas. With President Kennedy.
Yeah, these were what they submitted, a picture of her with President Kennedy. We did a whole nother set of research to research who were the original 72 that were still living. We wrote to about 45 women, and we've heard back from about 38 of them. We thought it would be really interesting to ask them if they had anyone to nominate for a future Supersisters card. If we get a chance to relaunch this, which we hope we will, having that mix of the MVPs, the women that have really made a name for themselves, as well as sort of the concept of a rookie. You know, getting women who are featured on a card who the world doesn't yet know their names necessarily.
I'm very proud of my sister and myself, and now my daughter, that have been involved in this and see the worth of it. And the fact that it's still needed by both girls and boys throughout the country and throughout the world.
It was really about representation. It was not meant to take anything away from baseball cards or from the accomplishments of men at all. It was to just provide some representation so that young kids, girls and boys, could see the information in a fun and accessible format.
PristineAuction.com. It's baseball stuff, it's basketball, it's wrestling, it's Marvel stuff.
Tatis, Patrick Mahomes, Wayne Gretzky, LeBron James, autographed Adidas jersey, Mookie Betts, Muhammad Ali.
Personal favorite thing on the site are the 10-minute auctions. You can bid on the item for only 10 minutes. Highest bidder wins.
It's free to register, free to bid. Sign up today, PristineAuction.com.
Pristine Auction is a proud sponsor of The Card Life. Head over to PristineAuction.com, where over 10,000 sports card auctions end every week. Early in 1996, Jim Burgess started a trading card company that specialized in making cards for local sports programs, businesses, and police units. A little over 2 years later, Pedro Sierra, a star pitcher for the Indianapolis Clowns of the Negro Leagues in the 1950s, walked into his office.
Pedro Sierra walked in our office, and I didn't know Pedro's background, nothing. He wanted some trading cards, and he had been a Negro League baseball player for the Clowns and the Stars back in the 50s. And we became really good friends, and I was doing some trading cards for him and then some of his friends, just so they could share their stories in the community. But as the roster started to grow, more and more people were coming in for them. I had like 10 Negro Leagues players from the DC, Baltimore area that were coming to me for this card that we had put together. I thought maybe we could do something bigger. Pedro and I drove down, and we met with probably 16 Birmingham Black Baron veterans, and I asked them, a couple of them had already got cards, but I asked the rest of them, if I was to do something really big and inclusive and create sort of a tribute, would you all participate? And they all said absolutely, they would love to do it. We grew to 59 players all total in May of 1999. First trip through was 5,400 plus miles in 18 days. We probably stayed at a hotel 3 times, 4 times, because we didn't have any funding. It was into rest areas and just to get a quick nap because we had to go to the next place, and I didn't want to miss anybody. We had to take photos and we did interviews and got all their backgrounds. And we created the cards, and then we had to go back out when the cards were finished to get them autographed. I left some of them boxes of cards so that they could start signing and selling so that they could make a little revenue off of this while we were putting this together. February of 2002 is when we did the autograph tour. We picked up all the autographs. And you might wonder why all these guys are showing up as older men in these cards. They're not in their playing days, because a lot of the guys didn't have pictures for one. And I thought it would be very cool to say, they waited, some of them 50 years, to get this acknowledgement. And they were ready for it, the way they were right there. And so that's why I chose to just do it that way instead of mixing them with younger and older pictures. Trying to package it in such a way that we could tell this story, you know, put a presentation together to celebrate Negro Leagues baseball by showcasing their careers. And eventually it came together. This is the Legacy Collection. It comes in a cigar style box. It's made of solid ash. And when you open the box, you'll see there's a certificate of authenticity. There's a storybook inside that tells the story from the very first cards we created. We have the autograph cards that sit inside the box, autographed all the way through. Juan Armenteros. James Bolden is one of the players that had passed away before we got the autograph, so he's represented with a foil stamp. Before we even got the cards finished, 4 guys had passed away. Average age was probably around 75 at that point, 70 to 75. And now, like I say, there's only 8 left, and the youngest of those is 83. The only way really that we could tell the whole story was to package the whole story. We promote people investing in a trading card collection or a presentation to be part of the story, because our mission is to honor their effort and preserve their legacy. And we can't preserve their legacy if people don't know about them, if they don't participate in it. So we just like to see that they see value in this story and become part of the team. I log everybody into our inventory list. There's only 600 pieces that are for sale. That's it completely. It was something that needed to be done, and I got the chance to do it. And I was blessed to be the one to be able to do this for them.
I am Billy Hinton. I work for Baseball Card Exchange. We are at our new retail store out in Schererville, Indiana. We've had a retail store continuously since 2013. Past 2 years, the industry with exploding the way it has, we started having kind of preliminary talks about what could we do to expand Baseball Card Exchange as a business. It was just kind of a snowball of ideas, and it just spiraled real quick into what you see behind me today. Steve's main thing was there has to be a side of vintage. You know, he wanted to be able to put out singles, graded cards, partial sets that you see over there. So as soon as you walk in, you have the vintage side, and then opposite side over here is going to be all the modern. You know, the product. Up front we have gaming. In the middle you're going to see all of the frame memorabilia, And then once you get up front, you'll see there's a showcase, Steve's kind of personal showcase. You know, there's 52 Mantle, 51 Bowman, 48 Leaf Jackie, a few Jordan rookies, some Jordan autographs, kind of those eye-catching items. And then at the front of the store behind the register is kind of the BBCE area, wrapped product, older packs, 1980s type of stuff, graded packs and things like that. The idea of what a hobby shop is constantly changing. We wanted to make it a social environment and almost have that bar atmosphere, but as a card shop. You know, people might come in and watch a game or get a Coke or a water up front, sit down and look through a dollar box and things like that. This is the warehouse for baseball card exchange. So this is the main warehouse where we store online inventory. There's always something going on here between pack authentication, box authentication, online orders, eBay orders, listing new stuff. So it's constantly in motion here. The owners couldn't be nicer. The people I work with couldn't be better. You know, I get to come to work every day and do something that, you know, you grow up as a kid thinking, how cool would this be to work at a baseball card store?
Oh my goodness, that is a Tom Brady autograph. Oh my, 1/1 diamond LaMelo Ball rookie. That's a hit. Wow, that's a big card, guys. Oh, quarterback, Joey Burrow. Yes, please, out of the first box. Oh, sick. Mike Trout, on-card autograph, 9.5, autograph grade 10.
CSG is proud to be the official grading partner of the Card Life. CSG's world-class expertise and state-of-the-art technology provide collectors with accurate, consistent, affordable, and fast grading. Learn more at csgcards.com.
In today's grade school, we're going to look at how do graders grade your card. At CSG, we use a blend of proprietary technology and tools to grade and authenticate your cards. Here's how you can review your cards at home. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the card out of the semi-rigid and the penny sleeve. Now let's talk about the 4 areas of the card that we examine. First, we're going to look at centering. Now we measure centering using a ruler. And many cards are obvious, distinct borders. Some cards are not. Example would be modern Panini Prism is a great example without defined borders, where we have to look at the different design devices and determine what the original card designer had in mind for centering for that card. So we'll measure top to bottom, left to right margins, and then we'll use our grading chart to calculate what the overall centering grade would be. Next, we're going to look at the surface of a card. We'll take our light source. This particular lamp has an LED light, so it's a nice clean white light, which is what you want for grading cards. So the first thing we're going to do is sheen the surface of the card. And what that means is we're going to hold the card perpendicular to our light source, and then we're going to just move it around so the reflection of the light bulb on the card, it appears that it's washed out, it washes the image out, but what we're looking for is surface imperfections, such as wrinkles, creases, dimples, even alterations. Next, we're going to look at corners and edges. So I'm taking my loop and I'm going to look at all 4 corners, both front and back. And as I'm doing that, I'm also looking at the edges. Now, when we sheen the surface for edge grade, that's also a time when we would notate any significant damages to the edges. Now, the one other area that we look for is as we're grading the card, we're also looking for any types of alterations and if the card is counterfeit. If either one of those are detected, then the card will go onto a different process where we have some technology where we can do further examination. So that, in a nutshell, is how we look at your card when you submit cards for grading. Get your cards graded at csgcards.com and follow us on social media at CSG Cards.
Oh my goodness, that is a Tom Brady autograph. Oh my, 1 of 1 diamond LaMelo Ball rookie. That's a hit. Wow, that's a big card, guys. Oh, quarterback Joey Burrow. Yes, please, out of the first box. Oh, sick. Mike Trout, on-card autograph, 9.5, autograph grade 10.
We couldn't do a show about Indiana without including the racing capital of the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pristine Auction was the first company in the hobby to sponsor NASCAR drivers, and owner Jared Kavley has an incredible collection of racing cards. We've learned a lot about your racing hobby and how much you enjoy it. So
yeah, no, I'm pumped. So yeah, we've had some sponsorship with several drivers. Okay. And so that puts our logo sometimes on cars. So this year we're with Kevin Harvick and Eric Almirola. They're both with Stewart Haas Racing, so the number 4 car and the number 10 car. Nice. So our logo is right on the rear quarter panel of those cars. It's pretty small, you gotta look pretty close, but it's there. I don't have them super organized, but I'll kind of go through and show you some of my favorites. So of course booklets, you know all about those. So this is Christopher Bell, and he's a friend of mine and the guy I root for probably the hardest. But these are some booklets of his. These are both 101s, and you can see our logo on his driver suit there. So that makes them kind of fun. But those are both 101s.
Have you ever gotten a card that is a patch with your logo yet?
No, because they're always like a year behind, right? So like the ones that have our logo, it's possible to show up in the next
year.
Yeah, I hope so.
That'd be so sweet.
Dale Jr. 101. These ones are cool. These come out of a couple different products, and it's just like a huge patch. You know, the whole card is a patch, and these are all race used. They're the Dale Jr. So pretty much all this I've pulled. So what I like about NASCAR cards is your entry price is so much lower. Right. Like I can buy a whole case of like Prism for probably what you'd pay for like a single box of Prism for some other products. This is a cool card just because our logo is pretty prominent in that one.
It looks good with the color match of the card.
And again, probably 99% of this I've hit just opening cards with my boys, which makes it that much more fun.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Harvick.
I enjoy it the most when just my brother and I sit down and open cards. It's like
it just makes it
I try to keep a few boxes for videos, and then it never fails. We always hit the big one when we're just opening them and not filming it.
Yes.
It's funny.
That one's a big hit.
That is a huge one.
I got to get that one signed.
The Haley Deegan 101. Need to hit her up for some hair tips.
This I brought to show you. It's kind of cool for a little show and tell, but so as an autograph collector, you know, that's obviously what I really enjoy collecting. So these are the Prism set from 2018. I don't know why I picked 2018. It was like the first Prisms I was opening. And I just love Prisms, the silver Prisms.
I love
I'm trying to get the entire run signed
that'd be sick.
Of silver Prisms. So I'm probably like 75% done. I didn't want to bring them all. I didn't think you wanted to see them all.
That's sick.
But like this is the idea. Get them all signed, get them all Beckett encapsulated. And these are just some of the key ones.
That is sick.
So there's some hard ones I still got to get, but like that's the rookie card right there.
Oh,
that's 18.
Yeah, dang.
Good grief. This is the one right here. So I actually found the 101 of it. So I did buy this one. So I was like, man, because of the story, I have to have that one. So Christopher Bell 101. But if you look on the back, so this was the Phoenix race. This was the first time we actually had a logo on a car.
Okay.
It was his first year. And so our logo was actually on what's called the deck lid. So it's like the trunk. And it was a terrible idea because you could not see it. Like on track with the camera, you could never see it, but we knew it was there, so it was fun. And then his helmet he wore is actually in my office right here. So you can see the helmet on the card here, and that's the one. So he gave it to me after the race because our logo was on it.
And it's on a 101, dude. That is so sick. Next month on The Card Life, we'll be down here in Phoenix. We'll open cards with one of my new teammates,
Wander Franco.
Oh, buddy.
We may have a winner right out of the gate. We may have a winner.
And see if I can beat my brother Ben for the second year in a row in the Strom Series.
Bill going back fast, at the track, to the ball, off the ball.
Until then, I'm Matt Strom. We'll see you next time on The Card Life.